Grandma Raedo by David Sawyer. My grandma Raedo, being that she was from eastern North Carolina and being born in the 30s, some would have thought that Raedo could have been Ray for short, but it was always Raedo. But she had also despised her given name from her childhood, especially from some shack of people in East Lake, North Carolina. So she loved to read, and that being odd for a little girl, and reading about Pip's Great Expectations or Pippi Longstocking, nothing, nothing made her proud of her own name or herself. So Raedo, a.k.a. Grandma, once came down for a visit from North Carolina. This was before our dad died, and we were living in a bad neighborhood, but most of the fruit pickers that lived right behind us and now live elsewhere in DeSoto County were kind people. Most of the time, these goddamn redneck white men would enter their dwellings, especially unannounced, and do Lord knows what. But always any harm was the picker's fault. So the white man would just do these drive-throughs, kind of in an intimidating fashion. Nothing exactly as bad as it sounds unless you were drunk and pulling over to piss on the road. But they broke Raedo's driver's side window, the Hispanics, or so it was said, on her 90s Buick Skylark. My brother Kevin had heard the whole thing, being near the mudroom and close to the kitchen, so Kevin really ran to the mudroom as fast as he could to maybe go outside, but the sounds weren't as violent. Not like as violent as a rabbit getting caged and lonely and left day in and day out, but it was as if someone smashed a giant wooden Louisville Slugger on a navy blue 90s Buick Skylark. Kevin was right, and he was also right to turn the lights on in the mudroom so they'd take off. And thanks be to God that they did too. The next day, when the police, good God-fearing donut junkies that they weren't, stopped by, but after my ma had called them 3 hours earlier, all they told my 88-year-old grandmother was, "Oh, don't forget to lock your car at night, Ms. Raedo. All these damn pickers in this hood could do y'all's property damage. There's only one good Mexican here, and his wife, Teresa, she can sure cook a heap of them changas. Damn." My grandma Raedo, yes, was so impressed with these men. Dear Lord, why? No, don't go there. There wasn't much to her, but because of that, she was always that way, so she didn't tell this racist or one-bullet Barney or Ken a damn thing other than, "Thanks. You need any more formation from us?" Barney wasn't his real name, and it seldom ever was or is. His real name was Ken, so Ken's response was, "No, ma'am, y'all be all right. Just lock your doors and cars before this happens again, and I'll make sure that I tell y'all's neighbors, and I'll give 'em's the DeSoto County calling." Oh, yes, so Raedo knew what that meant, but being from East Lake, North Carolina, or her damned upbringing wouldn't have started this whole mess to begin with in these remaining days of her life. And because never, and I mean never, was there any room for differentness. So if opinions were brawny, she'd just so chop that shit down. "Oh, great. And thanks, Officer Ken. You stop in to keep us safe any time. And do you know any single men folk for my daughter?" He had left her after he had blushed his little redneck ass off, and then he circled the block. But then he drove off to find his partner, Jim, and Jim was nearby, so the two of them had gone to the north ends of the trailer park, and intimidated 2 or 3 of the Hispanic families on the sidewalks before calling it quits. And for a ceremonious pact between friends, they had even blared their corny country music aloud. So my family didn't get to hear any of that, but some of the Hispanic children did. And those 2 men, when they were around, they'd sooner throw trash out of their damn police car windows as get their knuckles pink. Some of DeSoto County's finest, y'all.